Waiting for something to start, but I think we're going. Let's just make sure my laptop is muted. I'm terribly blind, apparently. Cancel, don't do that. Just turn off. Go quiet. There we go, got it. What's going on, guys? Happy St. Patrick's Day. We are gonna make some beer brats today to celebrate that. We've got two different beers we're gonna cook it in. We've got a Guinness and I've got a brown ale and a Shiner Bock in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make some Beer Bratwurst. We are going to sous vide them in beer. So I'm gonna put them in bags. We're gonna put them in that sous vide cooker. We're gonna cook for about 10, 15 minutes with some onions. Then we're gonna take them out to the smoker, which I've got going. And we're gonna see which one is better. I've long been a believer that cooking them in dark beer doesn't make any difference. Lots of people disagree with that. So we're gonna find out an answer tonight. Now I saw in chat, a few people were talking about weather. It sucks here too. So that's why I have a fleece on, because I'm gonna have to go out there and I don't wanna be out there. My psycho friends and I played golf yesterday. It was about 40 degrees with about 40-mile-an-hour wind. That went about how you would expect it to go. So it was fun. When we pulled up, I walked in, the starter came out of his office. He goes, no. I was like, oh, you're not letting people out? He goes, no, I didn't think anyone was stupid enough to come out and play today. But he was wrong, because we were there. We've got some green beer for some St. Patrick's Day. And Denny, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. I've got a lot of Iowa people in the chat today. Bush Light with a little bit of food coloring, getting into the St. Patrick's Day spirit. St. Patrick's Day is one of the holidays I can really get behind. Christmas, Thanksgiving are my two big ones. Memorial Day, July 4th, obviously very important. Veterans Day as well, Easter, and St. Patrick's Day. All the other ones I kind of do without. I'm sure I left one out there, but for the most part, those are the ones I care about. Oh, nothing like Miller Lite. Anyone out there who's a Busch Light fan over Miller Lite, you're wrong. You're just incorrect. We're going to start pouring this Guinness, because we're going to let it settle. We don't have an actual Guinness glass, but we're going to pour about just under half of it, let it settle, pour some more. I've heard, and I don't know how many of you drink out of the can versus the keg. Keg definitely tastes better with Guinness, but I've heard that our kegs that we get here are nothing like what they get in Ireland. So we've got some really nice sediment going there. So we will let that continue. How's everybody doing? Tex is here. Tex, I had a question or something for you. I said I would do on the live stream. I don't remember at the moment. So if you think of what I wanted to ask you, you bring it back up. It was the Process Heads sausage. He stopped by here a couple of weeks ago and gave me a few different flavors of sausage. One was like a Weisswurst type thing, which was good. It just wasn't great. That, I think it was Laotian is what he said. He posted something on Meatgistics about it. That one was really good. Like, it just tasted fresh as you were eating it. Like, he obviously used really fresh ingredients. It was phenomenal. Also, I have picked back up working on a new steak seasoning. I'm using a very specific type of salt, some other ingredients, and then I'm back on that mushroom powder. I made a cheap steak the other day. It was a strip steak. I made it for lunch for me and my girlfriend. Absolutely amazing with this rub. So we're working on that. Our main focus on these seasonings, we're probably going to do like 3 of them, is going to be clean label. We're going to use like mineral salts, like a Baja salt, and just clean labels. We're not putting any silicone dioxide in them. No, like difficult to pronounce ingredients. It'll be like salt, pepper, garlic, cayenne pepper, smoked paprika, and that'll be about it. So we're working on that, which means I get to eat a lot of steak. Now, the downside of that is I haven't quite yet convinced Waltons that it'd be a good idea for them to buy the steak while I try this. We're getting there. We'll see what happens, but for right now, it is coming out of John's pocket. Was it the beer poking? I don't know what beer poking means. Beard? Because the beard is gone. A lot of people who have recently started here are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. It's like, the beard was the odd part. I am usually unbearded, not clean shaven because I just use a zzz, but it was so itchy. And I had all dry skin like up here. Not like down here was totally fine, but up here was dry skin. So I was hating it. And it's getting to be summer. I don't want a beard for summer. So it'll grow back. All right. All right, so for this, we're using Excalibur's Beer Bratwurst seasoning. Fairly easy ingredients, right? We've got salt, natural beer flavor, which is maltodextrin, actual beer, malted barley, hops, yeast, spices, including celery seed, corn syrup solids, which is in everything, dextrose, onion powder, and spice extractives. I have no problem with dextrose. I just wish they would stop putting corn syrup solids in everything. And it is in everything. So when we go ahead and vacuum seal these, that beer is for drinking, by the way. That beer will get drank. That is not a beer for sous videing. We will use our 2200. It's our Walton's retail-ish size oil-powered vacuum sealer. So you guys get to see that if you've never seen it used before. I'm using just, I think, like 10 by 13 bags, something like that. So we'll just put 2 or 3 each in it. But first things first, let's go ahead and get this broken down. I'm sure most of you have seen me do this a million times, but what I'm doing is I'm looking for the bone that's long and thin. It covers about, I would say usually somewhere between 50 to 60% of one side of the pork butt. And I just grab whatever knife I'm using and I cut right down behind it. This thing is still frozen. Good Lord. I mean, that is... So we'll see how the One Shot wants to deal with this. Generally, our One Shot grinder, it doesn't like frozen meat. With a regular grinder, absolutely freeze your meat. This would be perfect for a traditional grind. But I am lazy in my old age, and I only want to do one grind. So we're going to put this through it. It'll be fine. It'll eat through it. Just might struggle just a tiny bit. So all I'm doing here is cutting everything up into long, thin strips. Makes it easier for that auger to grind it. Push it down right on through. What are the thoughts? Do we like the no beard look? Were you guys used to the beard at this point? Because every time I look at myself now, it's a little bit of a shock. I'm like, oh, is that a baby looking back at me? What is that? So we'll see. For anyone who wants to be involved, I started a thread on Meatgistics. We are going to do a tournament. We're calling it Meatgistics Madness. Winner will get, I think I said, a $75 gift card to waltons.com. So if you don't belong to Meatgistics, I don't know what you're doing here. So go join Meatgistics, and you could win a $75 gift card. I had a genius idea for picking my things, because the only sport I pay any attention to is football. And I made sure I didn't advance all number ones past the third round, but I went, of the two, I went top winner, bottom winner, top winner, bottom winner. And I just followed that down the entire way. Made it very, very easy. I picked my entire bracket in 2 or 3 minutes. It was awesome. All right, with how frozen this is, I'm going to be a little bit more careful than usual. I don't feel like getting a nice nick on my hand, so we're just going to be pretty careful with this, because that is still, I mean, I put these out at 7 o'clock this morning, and they are still frozen solid in the middle. Oh, this is how bad things happen. I get myself into these situations. A couple of weeks ago, we just changed freezers, but a couple of weeks ago, I put out pork butts on Friday at the very end of the day. I took them out and put them into the fridge. They were still frozen on the inside a little bit on Monday when I went to use them. So that freezer was getting way too cold. This one was just, I saw it at negative 2 point something earlier today. Not lazy, work smarter, not harder. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming we're talking about hopefully the one shot, because that is definitely working smarter and not harder. I just hate that second grind. I have become very bougie meat processor. I use this. I use the electric sausage stuffer. Although tonight I'm using the 11 pound because we're making such a small batch. I didn't feel like cleaning all that just for a single pork butt. But we're going to keep trying to figure out how we can bone this frozen mass of meat out here while being careful. I'm sure if Allie was watching, she would be proud of me for this. All right. Trying to follow along on the chat there, but I have lost it. So if anything huge is happening, somebody repeat it to me. Once we're done with the sausage making, we have everything in the sous vide cooker. I'll go back and look to see if there are any questions. If you guys have any non-sausage making questions, jerky, anything like that, feel free to post them in the chat. Once I get through with all this, I'll take a look through and we can talk about other things. If you have questions about Walton's products, what we're doing, anything like that, feel free to do them or to put them in there. I'll be more than happy to answer those. Okay. Here we go. We're going to grind everything. This is my Walton's one shot. On the outside, I have the 3/16 plate because we're not making a cured sausage. I don't need the 1/8 plate. So this should go very, very quickly. Everything's already been white oiled and sanitized. Although now that I think of it, with as frozen as this is, I should have had a stomper out and had that sanitized. So hopefully we don't need it, because if we do, we're gonna have to stop for about a minute here. The Walton's 50-pound meat lug weighs 1.8 pounds, so I don't need to have my scale teared out. We just know that and we'll remove it. And the Beer Bratwurst seasoning is 0.59, but 0.6 of an ounce of seasoning per pound of meat. So whatever this is, I'm guessing it's going to be 6 pounds, something like that. We'll just multiply that. We'll end up with 3.6 or something like that. And for the measuring, I've got my Escali Precision Digital Scale out here. I can't wait. You need to watch this podcast. A couple of weird things happened. Does anyone on Meatgistics know somebody named Robert August? Yeah. I've got to get mine. Give me a second. I got to get a stomper here. I'm going to sanitize that real quick. So, funny story. I was at the grocery store on Sunday. I think it was Sunday. And I was putting all my stuff on the conveyor or whatever. I went to grab a big bag of cheese, shredded cheese. I picked it up by too close to the end. The whole thing ripped open and cheese spilled out on the ground. So I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. They went and got a broom. She's like, I'll get it, but I got it. And I cleaned up all the cheese, right? I came into work this morning and there was an email from like 1 o'clock yesterday from a Robert August that said, looks like you dropped some cheese. It's like, I don't know a Robert August, so that means that somebody saw me, knew who I was, and had my email address. Kind of creepy. I was a little weirded out by that. So if anyone knows who Robert August is, that would go a long way to kind of making me feel more comfortable. All right. So we just grabbed a little handful of it, put it right back down. That just makes sure that everything gets through this at least once. So all of our sausage is gonna, all of our meat's gonna have that nice texture to it. Okay, we're gonna stop that. Okay, as I'm talking here, I think I know who it is actually. I do know who it is. Mystery solved. I cannot believe I saw that guy in Dylan's yet again. That's the second or maybe even third time that like I've run into, obviously, that guy at Dylan's. He's a good friend of the guy who owns Michael Murphy's. That's who that is. Well, mystery solved. I don't have some crazy stalker trying to wear my skin. All right, let's get my grinder out of here. And we're just gonna hand mix, obviously. We have a very small batch. There's no reason to do any type of, the 20-pound mixer, the 50-pound mixer, this wouldn't be near enough meat for, so that's not gonna work. Let's weigh this all out real quick. All right, we've got 9.25 minus what did I say? 1.8. So we are at 7. Said 9.25. Yeah, let's rely on something a little bit smarter than John. Clear. 9.25 minus 1.8. We've got 7.45 times 0.59. So we are looking for 4.9 ounces of seasoning. Like I said with this, we're going to use our escali. If somebody's asking about mixing stuffing or mixing one day and then stuffing the next day, I strongly encourage you not to do that. This meat, especially when we add anything like seasoning to it, it's going to start setting up real quick. But even just this, it's already going to start setting up a little bit. We've already put a lot of mechanical energy into the meat. We're going to start extracting those proteins. So grind mix stuff the same day is definitely the best way to do it. All right, here we go. We're going for 4.4 ounces. Right, it was 4.4? Yes, 4.4 ounces. And man, this seasoning's amazing how it smells exactly like beer. Or could be the different beers I have out in front of me here. 40 ounce of beer. No, we're going to put a little bit of, a Shinerbock. I want a Shinerbock for this. I'm going to put a little bit of Shinerbock in this. That green beer is strictly for drinking. We don't need to put green beer in our seasoning. I thought about trying to put food coloring into the water that I'm soaking my casings in right now. I'm using 30-32 tubed hog casings. I figured these needed the traditional look to it. But then I started thinking about green casings and how that could be extremely unappealing. So all right. Chad, who's the clean-shaven young pup? Yep, it came off. It needed to. There was no question about that. I will wear it again. Just for right now, it's gonna get hot. Although it's hilarious, I shaved my beard and shaved my head, so I went clean shaven on the head as well. On the day before, I went out and played golf in howling winds in like, when I woke up it was 54 degrees or 58 degrees. By the time we teed off, I think it was like 42 or something like that. All right, so there's my meat. I just poured a little bit of beer into it. Shouldn't need much beer in this. The seasoning itself has a lot of beer flavor to it, and we're gonna cook it in beer. So I'm just really adding that more than anything else for a little touch and to help the seasoning mix in a little bit. For everybody who's been watching these recently, I'm sure you're sick of me saying it, but when I mix the seasoning in on a bratwurst or any type of sausage that I'm not trying to cure and smoke, we want to be really careful that we don't overwork the meat. And this meat is super cold. Whew. Yeah, my hands, thank God this is a small batch, because by the end of it, my hands would be very unhappy. Don't know what 4 to 6 months are. For right now, I'm going to ignore chat. For some of you Meatgistics guys who've been with me these last couple of years, I have a contract on my house, and my offer was accepted on a new house in Towanda. It's a small town, about 15, under 20 minutes from Walton's. Out my door to here is just under, somewhere in between 15 and 20 minutes. Nice area. So not many people, which is one of the things I'm absolutely looking for. I don't like being surrounded by a bunch of people. I love people. I love talking to them. I love hanging out with them. I just don't want a bunch of people around me. Eventually, the goal will be 40 acres and a mule, and an ornery mule that likes attacking coyotes. Right now, I have a small mule who tries to eat cats and raccoons and things like that, but my dog's getting old. We had an incident the other day. I was like, oh God, no. Like he's getting like old. So I'm hoping this move is okay for him, but it does worry me just a bit. He is a 200-pound Mastiff. I'm just waiting to make sure that this is in. Yeah, I can even move back a little bit. Look at that. 200-pound Mastiff. So kind of dominates my life for a big portion. It's not easy to have a dog that size. It's worth it though. Great dog. All right. We're going to stuff our 11-pound stuffer with our suction cup feet. We're just going to make sure we have as few air pockets as possible. With a fresh sausage like this, it's not anywhere near as big a deal. If we were doing anything like a hot dog or a snack stick or definitely a summer sausage, we'd really want to make sure we don't have any air pockets. When we're cooking bratwursts, that tends to fill in. There's a good amount of expansion that goes on in the meat. But with snack sticks, things like that, it's not quite the same. Now, I did look this up because I was actually a little bit worried about this. I don't know if most people know this or not, but you are not supposed to vacuum seal onions. They actually deteriorate really quick when you vacuum seal them. They gas off and they will break down really, really fast. But I did look it up. We're fine to sous vide cook them. But yeah, onions are one of the few food items that do really bad under vacuum. So these are my tubed hog casings. One of them should be more than enough to deal with 8 pounds or whatever I had, 7 something, but I have 2 just in case. So it's got this thumb hole side, and this is the side that we're gonna slide right on to the stuffing tube. And then all we're gonna do is we're just gonna pull it right back towards the canister. This plastic sleeve comes off, and we have a full long run of sausage casings on there. Push it down to the end. This is the dual speed stuffer, so we're gonna use the top gear just to get the piston down in contact with the meat. As soon as I feel any pressure, I back off, I switch it to the lower gear, and then we start cranking here. Oh, it's been a long time since I've had a Guinness. That is quite good. Lots of minerals in that. All right, so we're just gonna stuff, and I'm just holding it on. I wanna stuff them nicely, but I don't wanna overstuff them. So I'm only holding it on pretty lightly. We're just gonna run everything. Oop, I lost suction on that front foot. Or maybe I never had it. And once you figured out how tight to hold any casing, you've figured out how to hold all casings. Snack sticks are a little bit more different or difficult than sausage like this, but it's all the exact same premise. This is where it can be useful to have a second person, but it's definitely not necessary, especially if you're using suction cup feet. All right. Once we're done with this, we're going to back that piston all the way out, and we are going to use our Walton's stuffer flusher eggs. Now, if you have an electric stuffer, the stuffer flusher egg, yeah, there they are. The stuffer flusher eggs aren't actually necessary. They'll get another couple of inches at most on a sausage like this. But with the 11 pound, the 26 pound, the 7 pound, these are actually a pretty good little handy thing to have. I'm just going to quickly spray them down, let them sanitize there. And the reason for that is, hold on, let me pull this out. The reason for that is on the manual sides or sizes, we've got this big outlet down here, right? And that all has meat in it. There's also just a tiny bit of meat left in there, right? So these stuffer flusher eggs, they flatten out, they're really malleable. So we're gonna put them in there, crank that piston back down to the bottom, and that's gonna help push everything out, make sure that we get as much of the meat as we can into our sausage. What we're gonna do here is separate this, and I'm gonna give everybody, all of you guys who are here, about a minute or so to go ahead and get your guesses in how many extra inches of sausage we get. Winner is going to get a $50 gift card here. So go ahead and get your guesses in while I drink my beer, and then we'll get those sanitized stuffer flusher eggs down in there, and whoever is closest to whatever it actually comes out to be is going to get a $50 gift card. We've got 17 inches from ND Mike. I think that's pretty hopeful there. 4.3 is 6 inches. That seems like a good one. 12, 11. And if two people guess the exact same, then we're going to have whoever's there first. Okay. We got 18 inches. I feel like that's too much. But maybe I'm wrong because we've got two guys in there who went 17, 18 inches. I think it's going to be, well, I'll wait. Ugh. Nice thing about Guinness is sometimes, like from a palate appeal aspect, it doesn't even feel like you're drinking a beer. It just has it hits my tongue differently. So, okay, I'll give just like another minute or so, and we'll get these in there, and we'll get this stuffed out. And I like putting them towards the back of the stuffer. That just, as we push them, they're gonna force more stuff out of it. Okay. All right, so if we go over 18 inches, Tex wins. But we are, well, no, I didn't say it. Normally I do Price is Right rules, which means if you go over, you don't win. But we'll just do closest to. All right. Here we go. Do I have my, there's one at my desk. I swear to God I brought it back in here today, but I don't see it anywhere. All right, here we go. That's pretty good. Whoop. Must be unusually dry here. All right, that is absolutely as much as I'm getting there. And here's what we got. I mean, I guess that is a lot closer to 17 inches than I would have thought. Let me see, do I have an extra one down in my toolbox? I do not. I will be back in nope, it's right here. Got it. I knew I brought it back in here today. All right. We're gonna flatten this out as much as we can. Okay. And I will bring the phone over so you guys can see that I'm being honest here. We're at just about dead on 15 inches. So that is pretty much exactly 15 inches of extra sausage we got from using the stuffer flusher egg. So there it is. It's lined up just about right with the edge. And we come right to 15 inches. So we'll look through messages here in a second to see who won the $50 gift card. I am guessing it's Andy Mike. I didn't see anything that was closer than that. I guess 13.68. 13.68 would be closer than 17. So let's look through here. All right. Our guesses were 17 inches, 4.3, 6, 12, 11, 13.68. So if we're saying 15, that's 1.32. Then 15 inches. Oh, no, Denny's dead on. Good job, Denny. Congratulations, buddy. I will get you your gift card sent out. You might need to remind me, but I'll get that sent out. One of the nice things I like about fresh sausage is just how easy they are to link. We're going to go through and just link these all up real quick. Towards the end, I was getting pretty hard on the hold there. These are stuffed real full. So we always we go one way and then we go the other. If we go all in the same way, we're just going to unroll what we did before. So one way, then the other. Back, forward, back, forward. Very easy way to do it. And then we'll get a couple of these in vacuum bags. Cut up some of those onions. Put everything in there together. See what I just did? I've got a knife around here somewhere. There we go. Anytime I split a casing as I'm linking, I always cut that casing right there because it's only going to get worse, right? Yeah, I started out doing a good job, and then right towards the end there, I don't know if I was starting to think about using the stuffer flusher eggs or what, but we definitely got way too tight. And that's one of the nice things about the natural casings is how well they just deal with being linked. Collagen casings do not. I really like collagen. I use them a lot. Like the 30 millimeter fresh is probably the majority of what's in my freezer right now. But the downside to them is doesn't matter how much you twist them, how well you twist them. You can do a few things. You can freeze them a little bit before you twist them. That'll help them keep their closed ends a little bit, but it's never going to look like this. I'll try and hold up a few sausages right at the end. I think we're just going to do one huge one instead of a few smaller ones. Nah, we're going to do two small ones. That's too big. Okay. So the advantage to a natural casing is that right here. That perfectly closed end that you're just never going to get unless you have an insanely expensive piece of commercial equipment that will automatically link that for you. So just keep that in mind with whatever you choose from a casing standpoint on sausage. There are upsides and downsides to every one of them. They are minimal for the most part. The big one for me, honestly, is I just prefer having the straight sausage. I think it fits in a bun better. It's just easier to cook. The curve of it more than the bite or the closing on the end is what usually keeps me away from using natural casings. Plus, there's preparation involved with these, right? Like these soaked for about 40 minutes in really hot water, as hot as I could get it, before we put them on that. That's not the biggest deal, right? Because you usually have a ton of other things that you have to do to get to this stage. But in general, one less thing to worry about is one less thing to worry about. Those casings there, if you wanted, you could put them back in the salt solution. That is what I will do with these. I still have the rest of the package up there. I'll put them back in with the rest of them. All that salt is there. It'll keep that casing absolutely no problem. But in general, for me, once they've gone on the stuffing tube, I consider those casings done. All right, let's grab. We had a bit of a snafu earlier with some of the beer. So we've got a little bit of some Shinerbach in here. We're going to put that right there just as we get a few things set up here. We're going to cut up that onion and make sure that I get that in the vac bag. And that was it. That's what I was thinking, Tex. That is thanks to you that I am cutting up this onion and putting it in there as well. We will also get those onions on the grill. I've got some buns as well. Get that out of the way. So just a regular white onion. There's a little odd patch on the end of that. That's why I took that much off that end. I don't know. Yeah, just a little dark patch there. We don't need that many of them. So we can be judicious with what we're keeping and what we're getting rid of. Obviously, all the papery outer layers we want to get rid of. And then we're going to kick out the eye of the onion so that I don't cry. For anyone who doesn't know that, I assume most of you do, it is this inside of the onion that causes all the issues when you're cutting. With this, taking that out, I should be fine. The outer sizes or sides of the onion don't really have much to them. Whatever that juice is, it's all on the interior. I think they call it the eye of the onion. Whatever you want to call it. The inside of the onion. All right. So this is the Shinerbach one. We're going to put two Bratwursts in there. We're going to set that aside. We're going to go get ourselves a fresh Guinness. Pour that into a vac bag. Get a few of those in there, and then we will get these in that sous vide cooker in the back, which I haven't checked on in a while, but hopefully is keeping things warm. Yeah, I can see it moving. I've got it set to 176, so we might not even need the whole 20 minutes. We're going to throw 2 in here. Picking a few of the nicer ones. Get it in there. That's a great sound. You can hear that widget down in there that's just releasing, I think it's nitrogen. So we'll just pour that right in there about the same amount just so it's covering everything. Probably a waste of Guinness, but it is what it is. All right, we're going to take some of these onions. just a couple fingerfuls each. And then I will get the cell phone set up so you guys can look in on what happens here when we're vacuum sealing these. If nobody or if anybody has never seen liquid being vacuum sealed before, it is fairly interesting. And because I've done this for forever, I can explain some of the science to you about what's happening here, and tell you a funny story about how stupid I am. All right, we're gonna do this, the Guinness first. Now, the 2200 comes with this. That is designed to sit in here just like that so that things sit flatter on the seal bar. But because I have a liquid, I want it to have to go up as much as possible. So I'm gonna take this spacer plate out. We're gonna lay it right there. Even with doing this, there's a decent chance that there's gonna be some liquid in the chamber. So just be prepared for that. You might have to do a small amount of cleanup. This has a bunch of different programs on it. We're gonna go to P2, hopefully you can see that. And all we gotta do is close the chamber, and it's gonna run for about 40 seconds here. Now, as we see this, and that's probably way more than I need to do. You can obviously see all of that foam. Everything's foaming up like abs. Oh yeah, look at that coming out like crazy there. In fact, we're gonna emergency stop that. That is way too much. Way too much. Okay. Well, it's good to know that the emergency stop works, right? Doesn't actually cause problems. We will throw a little bit more beer in that, and we will do a much shorter cycle. Very, very much shorter cycle. I probably actually should change vac bags as well, since there's so much liquid in this one. Give me 1 second. I will be right back. That is situation normal, all fouled up for anybody who's in the military. All right, and we will switch that to a much quicker cycle. What's happening there while the foam is going on is actually the liquid in there is boiling. Water and most liquids boil at a boil in a vacuum. So the story about me being very, very stupid is I knew, like intellectually, I knew that it wasn't making anything hot, right? It was changing the atmospheric pressure, and that allowed it to boil. But I had to try and see if I could boil pasta in a vac bag at room temperature. It did not work. Did not work. But I had to try. All right, let's see what this one does. That's 9 seconds. That'll be much, much better. All right, so we've got it going. You see it'll pull most of the air out, and then it's gonna suck it down once it reintroduces all the vacuum. 9 seconds might have been a little bit too low, but it'll be fine. There we go. On the next one, we will up that slightly. All right, we're gonna toss this into the sous vide cooker and move on to the Shinerbach one, which will change the settings on just a little bit. Program. Seal time. Set. We'll go to 11 seconds. And then I just created a great amount of cleanup for myself that I didn't need to do. All right. So we've got 11 seconds here. 11 seconds here. Yeah, and because I've created so much liquid there, it doesn't actually want to. Good. Good job, John. Well done. Well done. Doesn't want to seal the bag now. Okay. Everything's fun until I mess something up by not thinking about it and cause a huge mess like that. But if you see all that foam that's going on in there, that is all of the oxygen or air being pulled out of the beer and it is technically boiling. All right. We'll take this. We'll toss it in our sous vide cooker. And for anyone wondering, we don't actually sell a sous vide cooker. Very, very hot. We don't actually sell a sous vide cooker anymore. We've tried a few different brands and they were all good. Like they worked well. It's just, you can buy a sous vide cooker anywhere, right? So it was hard to like make a market for it. So, all right. I am going to try and catch up just a little bit on chat. I'm sure there's some funny amateur night at Walton's. Yes, yes. Yes. All of this is amateur. Do you think I'm a professional? I mean, technically I'm a professional. Oh, that is difficult to think about. I mean, I do get paid for this, so I am a professional. But I also drink while I'm doing this. So I feel like that should bring things down, right? That should make you more understanding of all the mistakes. I'm going to go real quick, just look to see what the grill is doing. Make sure that we're going to have a nice hot grill to put these on. Oh, God, I do not like how cold it is out here, but we're good. That is running nicely. So get a few of these things out of the way. And let's start looking at some chats here. All right, scroll down, take my, yep, keys are out there. Keys are already on the ground out there, no problem. We're just agreeing, I mean, laughing at you. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, let's be honest. It's part of what I'm here for. I have a very good understanding of how ridiculous what I do sometimes is. These look and sound incredible. As far as these beer brats, they're going to be top notch. I mean, the beer brat seasoning by itself is really, really good. Like if we didn't do anything else to it, but we're also cooking, sous videing them in Guinness and Shinerbach with some onions. We're going to throw them on a grill. I've got buns. I've got mustard. Like there's 0% chance that these aren't awesome. The last week's live stream where we did the, which way am I going here? There we go. Sorry. Last week's live stream where I did the jalapeno popper sausage seasoning as sliders went amazing. Now, in that I use 60% pork and 40% beef. I'm going to keep trying to go like back off the amount of pork I use until it tastes more like a beef burger. Because those did taste, somebody said like, yeah, that's amazing. It just tastes more like a bratwurst than a burger. I was like, yeah, that's probably true. So we're going to try and find that range where like, hey, I can add some pork to this to make my beef last longer because beef is insanely expensive and only getting worse. So, in the next couple of weeks, months, whatever, I'm going to keep doing it. I think I'm going to start by 20%. So I said 60-40, I'm going to flip them. I'm going to do 60% beef, 40% pork. And then I think I'll go just like 80% beef, 20% pork. We'll see what that happens because I'm sure you guys are as annoyed and frustrated as I am with the cost of beef. I'm going to throw these other bratwursts that we're not cooking tonight in the freezer real quick. And then I will vacuum seal them tomorrow. But let me do that before they sit out any longer. They're well within, obviously, the danger zone, but there's no reason to leave them out if I don't need to. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And I'm assuming the Walton's TV is at least as entertaining as I am. So you won't be too bored. Woo! Oh, God, this freezer is... Well, I mean, it's freezing, obviously. But the walk-in freezer here is, I don't know what we keep it at, but every time I walk in there, it is like a shock. All right. Make sure that's still going. Yep, 177. So we're going to let that go for probably another 5 minutes or so. I'm going to wipe this down before I bring my laptop onto it because we've been linking sausage there. These are another thing. I don't know how many people use them, but they're basically the Maxim hard surface sanitizer in a wipe form. It's a different brand name, but it's basically the same thing. And they're really convenient. They're a little bit more expensive, like per use, I guess you would say. But man, are they convenient. You wouldn't want to use regular cleaning wipes for anything like this, but those ones are really, really good. And they do a good job too. All right. Yeah, no, $2,300 for half a beef. And that, unfortunately, is the price, right? Like, I would have hoped that through Walton's, like, we'd have relationships where we'd be like, oh, what's our price? Like, yeah, no, there's none of that. So it's the lack of supply. There's just not that many cows out there. Very, very frustrating, but that's the way it is. I think anyone who was like a regular listener of the podcast about 2 years ago, we thought by now we'd be back in kind of more regular beef times. But it just kept getting worse and worse. And they kept pushing back the herd rebuilding, right? So instead of holding back heifers to rebuild the herd, they just kept sending them to slaughter. So there was less and less cattle. So hopefully that changes here fairly soon. I just bought a half a cow. Okay. We can buy 50/50 already in 1 pound tubes. Okay. So here's the deal with the 1 pound tubes. Anytime I go to the grocery store and I'm trying to buy ground anything, those tubes are kind of a last ditch effort. It's not the right thing. That's a last option for me. Especially if I want to make something out of it. Like if I just want ground beef, then yeah, that's totally fine. But if I'm trying to make like a sausage or restructured jerky or anything out of those tubes, it's hard because they use a process called hot boning. And that does denature the meat as they're taking it off the carcass. So it's already kind of started to have, like, think of it like, this is not the correct scientific term, but it's almost started to be denatured at that point, right? So it's still totally safe, no problems with that, but it's not going to want to bind well again. As soon as you cook it, that fat's going to go boom and just get right away from the protein. So just keep that in mind if you're making a product with it and you can't buy like a whole muscle cut and grind it yourself. The best thing you can do is find those foam trays. Those tend to work pretty well, depending on your grocery store or butcher shop, anything like that. Let us know what you think the best ratio is, please. So if you're talking about for sausage, it depends. I'm somewhere between the 25% pork fat, I think is the best. And that holds true for me, whether I'm doing like a wild game, like a deer, I will try to add 25% in pork fat to that. Or if I'm just making something like this, right? Pork butts are about 25%-ish. We're probably starting to get a little bit favorable, like calling them 25% is a little bit generous at this point. They're probably down in like the 22% range. They used to be closer to 30, but it just changes in how they're processing them. They're a little bit lower in fat now. If you can, go to your butcher shop, get pork fat. It is not expensive, and it is an awesome tool for a ton of things. I've said it a million times. Pork fat has qualities that very, very few other fats have. It's very nice white, and like no matter how you cook it, it stays nice and white. It has a creaminess that only like duck and one other fat can really match. And obviously it has really, really low taste on its own. That might sound odd, but just pork fat doesn't really have much taste. What it does is a great carrier for other flavors. So it melts at a low temperature. So as you're chewing it, even on like a snack steak or a summer sausage, it's going to melt at your chewing temperature, and that's going to coat your mouth, and you're going to get to experience those flavors a lot longer and a lot more intense than you would with, say, beef. Duck is the one that people say, like, no, that's basically as good as pork fat except for the color. But how many ducks would you have to kill? It'd be insane. Hopefully I have brown spicy mustard. I do. I always do. Okay. Strips at $9.99, right? Oh, $9.99 for New York strips or KC strips, whatever. That's insane. I paid $12. So that's another thing. Like, we have a Dillon's here, and that's usually just like where I do most of my grocery shopping. I went in, I buy my pork butts from Sam's though. I was looking at Sam's beef. It's like the same or less price, and the quality is like so much better. I was looking at their strip steaks. I'm like, oh my God, the marbling in that compared to what I just paid a couple of days ago at Dillon's is night and day. So if you do have a Sam's Club membership, just their beef seems to be really, really good recently. Ribeyes, I don't even mess with anymore. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid how expensive they've gotten. Like, it doesn't make any, oh, it makes sense, but it's weird to drink now without a mustache or any hair on my upper lip. I also had gotten really used to going like this. And now with nothing up there, it feels strange. I'm not a huge fan of that. So I keep doing this. I look like a psychopath. All right. I will be right back. Check the grill one more time. We're going to take those out. We're going to throw all of it on the grill, and we'll get these cooked and see what we're dealing with. I have a feeling that I'm not going to be able to tell the difference between the two. But I've been wrong many, many times before. God, I really wish these lights would come on out here, because it'll be very dark for you guys. Okay. Yeah, it's plenty hot. All right. Nope. Keys stay out. And just to make cleanup a little bit easier, I'm going to open them over this. Then I'll bring them out on some of these regular little cutting boards. Okay. Whew. Nope. Do not want to use a knife that I have cut raw pork on. Now I'm obviously going to cook these all the way up to 160, but they're not going to stay in there that long. And there's no reason to cause myself any grief. Should have thought that out better and had tongs ready to go. All right, so this, what we're going to put on the left side are the Guinness ones. And then these should put on the right side. These are going to be our Shiner Bach. All right. Let's get all those onions. Lay them right on top. Do the same thing for this. All right, let me throw these out here. Hopefully our lights come on real soon on the outside. Otherwise, you guys aren't really seeing much when we go out that way. Actually, you're not seeing anything. Okay. Really nice grill sizzle. So even though my grill tells me it's 260, it's way closer to 360. All right. So there's not really anything I can do to turn on the lights out here, guys, because it is all on light sensor. And for the podcast that's coming up, hopefully Austin is on this one, because I'm going to make so much fun of him. He said perhaps the dumbest thing I've ever heard Austin say. I don't want to ruin it for you. I really don't want to ruin it for you. But it is ridiculous. Dumbest thing he's ever said. He sent me a text message at like 6 o'clock in the morning showing me something. And I think he knew it was stupid, but I don't think he realized how stupid it was. It was like me level stupid. So, if that tells you anything. I'm going to throw some of these onions on here. I'll be back for you guys in a second. God, that really needs to turn on. If ND mic is still on, and if anyone heard me say, oh my God, it was because I looked down where my keys should be. There were no keys there. Luckily, they were in my pocket, but I can't see out here to get my fob correct. So we almost had a repeat of one of those early streams where I locked myself out. All right. So we're going to stay in here because it is crazy dark out there. There's no reason to go out there. You guys won't be able to see anything. Are we that far behind? Yeah. Wow. That's pretty far behind. Don't need that. Let me get my buns. Let's get some spicy brown mustard. I've got spicy brown. I've got honey mustard from Granny's. Ooh, I'm not using the honey mustard. I think the other one I'll use is some chipotle. So for anyone who's a huge mustard fan, Granny's mustard comes in these cool little bare containers. Really, really good. The chipotle and the hickory, I think those are the two that we determined are our favorite. We've tried a bunch of different things on them, and those are the two that we always really, really like. You need a separate floodlight switched on from the inside. Yeah, that would be great. The problem is getting electrical back in here is not the easiest thing to do, but that is something we should have thought of, absolutely. But at the time, we weren't doing like late night live streams. Like, this is a relatively new thing. Right? We moved into this building in April. We started probably doing like the later night live streams in June, something like that. So we weren't doing these before, so we didn't think of it. It would be better though. Shiner Box, not bad. Doesn't hold a candle to my first love, Miller Lite. Better go easy on Austin. He might be the one to get Walton's to pay for the steaks. Austin's cheap. I don't know if you guys actually know that or not. And I don't mean with like Walton's, but like in life, like with his stuff. Austin's pretty cheap. So getting Austin to pay for the steaks, I don't feel like that's really in the cards. That's more of a wish than a, hey, we might be able to do this. And he would not have any problem with me saying that. Like, he knows he's cheap. Shiner Box, not better than Miller Lite. That's incorrect. In fact, I find that statement offensive. I do not like it. No. Because I can drink 14 Miller Lights while I'm playing 18 holes of golf and still feel good. I cannot drink 14 Shiner Box and still feel good. So, ND Mike, that's what I used to think. I used to hate Miller Lite. Legitimately, if the choice was between Miller Lite and nothing, I would choose... I keep hearing the beeping. I would choose the nothing. That changed after my divorce, and the exact same thing happened to one of my buddies. So we think that there has to be like a certain level of relationship trauma you have to go through before Miller Lite like opens up to you. And it's like, this is what we were trying to show you the whole time. All right, I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna have to take my phone though, because I'm gonna need the flashlight. Ooh. Oh, no, it's on out here. All right, give me a second. Yep. We'll come out here in a second if these aren't almost done. But I have a feeling they're almost done. Yeah, they only have a couple of minutes left, so we're going to let them sit out here. I'll come back in and just look through some of the older chats. And then just a couple of minutes, we'll go back out there and try them out. Miller Lite equals water. Yeah, pretty much. What is that beeping? Can you guys hear that? Are you picking up on a teet, teet, teet? It's like 3 quick beeps in a row. It's driving me up a wall. Oh, there it is. Now we're going to turn off what I think it is. I think it was the... Nope. God bless. It was obviously the sous vide cooker. When I pulled out the sausage, it put the level too low, so the sous vide cooker just turned itself off and was alerting me to that. But I was too stupid to realize that. So, all right. We'll give that just a couple more minutes. Scroll back through texts with a beer. Taking this as I go through. All right. I was talking more about the ratio than the packaging. Dwight, what are we talking about? Because I am slightly confused. I thought I answered your question from a fat percentage, not ratio. Like, I don't know what ratio you would be talking about with packaging. A little bit confused by that. So if you're still watching, let me know. I'll try and answer. Looking into the Nebraska wildfires and how head of cattle will be without pasture ground for a year or more. Well, that's awesome. That should help. Yeah, and obviously we had a huge problem down in Oklahoma as well. There were a ton of fires, and there were a bunch of videos going around of herds moving, obviously themselves, or people moving herds. But yeah, once that is burned, they really don't have much to eat. So probably not a bad year to grow corn in, say, Iowa or somewhere else we're out without a bunch of fires, because they're going to have to feed them something. If it's not one thing, it's another with cows. Ranchers have a tough life, man. I think, as we all know. I looked to buy strip loin to cut it up into steaks for the summer and said no thanks to $230. Now, that's still better than going and buying them individually. Like, it really is. So if you just have to have it, then that's a good way to save money. And honestly, I also like that. We talked about it on the last podcast as well. I like that that's becoming a little bit more popular because it gets people a little bit more in touch with like right where their food comes from. When you go to a store and you just buy a steak and it comes in that foam tray, or maybe buy it from your butcher and it's vacuum packed, yeah, you understand it a little bit. But when you get a huge hunk of meat, you actually have to think about it a little bit, right? Like, okay, this was part of an animal. A steak doesn't necessarily look like it was a part of an animal, but when you buy a strip loin, it's like, that's a muscle group. Like, that makes a little bit more sense. And I like that. Plus, you can cut them as thick or as thin as you want. Ratio of pork to beef that is available over the counter here. Ah, gotcha. So no, from pork to beef that over the counter, there's not much that I see here in Wichita, at least, that's like a beef pork mixture. Pretty much everything is you buy either beef or pork. So that was just like what I'm doing. Because beef is so expensive, I'm trying to find where I can add pork almost as it's the wrong word, but almost as a filler, so that we can still have burgers that taste like burgers, but they'll be a little bit less expensive. And when I say a little bit less expensive, like we're probably getting down to what they were 5 years ago, right? We're not getting back to those 1990s price where beef was cheap and life was good. Let's revisit how you cheated Mike and I out of gift cards. No. All right, yes, let's revisit that. Am I wrong? Did Denny-O not win? Because I'm down. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no problem admitting that. It happens all the time. But I'm pretty sure Denny-O was dead on 15. And that was 15. Unless you're talking about a previous thing. Yeah, Denny won tonight. Okay. So it's another thing he's probably talking about. I just got my wife to order an Old Mill in the bar. First time she's ever had an Old Milwaukee. Oh, yes. There you go. Listen, there's something special about cheap beers and bars. About 20 years ago, PBR, Pabst Blue Ribbon, not professional bull riding, started getting really popular in New York again. Like, to the point where every bar had it, and people were like annoyed because it was like hipsters buying them. I don't even know if we had hipsters back then, but it was like people that you wouldn't think they could afford good beer, but they were buying PBR because it was like cool. These were the people who now probably wear Carhartt, who don't actually do any jobs that require them to wear things like that are Carhartt. So that type of person. And it like caused problems in bars many times. I was there for it. I mean, I got all the meat out of the horn that's possible. So yes, this meat in here, like I don't have a dowel right now to push it out of. How's that? It's all the way against the horn, right? Like I got every bit of meat out of that stuffer. So you guys can go cry to your mom, but Denny wins. And now I'll die on that hill. So it's over. All right, I'm gonna go check on those. I'll be right back. Ooh. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. What is going on here? All right, all of a sudden, maybe my grill isn't lying to me and it's just not hot anymore. I'm pulling that heat shield off. We're cooking these all the way up. So obviously you guys aren't seeing what I'm doing, but I 100% just lost track of what's what. I know what one of them is on each one, so I think we're okay still. I had to move things around out there, and as usual, I didn't think about anything, I just started moving things around. But I still know what one of each is, so we should be okay. Every live stream, John can't run his grill. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. That thing does not, it lies to me about the temperature. It either tells me it's like 240 where it's 380, or it tells the truth and it's like 240. Like those should be done by now. They're not. So I'm annoyed. Old-fashioned charcoal grill. Here's something about me. I don't like cooking on charcoal. I know that probably seems like antithetical and like heretical to you guys. But in my opinion, charcoal is more difficult than it's worth, right? Like those grills, when they work correct, my grill at my house, which is the smaller version of that, works perfectly every single time, and I push buttons. I don't have to do anything else, I just push buttons. So, yeah, I just don't like the larger size of the Camp Chef grills. The 24 is amazing. I mean, that's also true. Like, what do you want me to do? Text you want me to say, no, I know how to cook on charcoal. I don't cook on charcoal, so you are correct. I would think that if you and I went head to head on strictly a charcoal grill for steaks, I would think you would have a huge advantage. I'd probably still beat you because I'm me and you're you, but it'd be close. It'd be close. You'd probably try to put some mayonnaise on your steak or whatever you do, and I would beat you, but it'd be like, that's a good evening, what do you call it? Like when Notre Dame played Florida State back in the 90s, they said, we're going to leave the grass long to slow you guys down. Like that would be that thing. That's a long grass thing. Team Hank. Bobby. All right. They do smell amazing out there, though, I will admit. They were at 149-ish, so we're just going to give them a minute or two. I pulled the heat shield out, and I kicked it all the way up, so hopefully it's just firing at them. Hopefully everybody who's on this live stream right now knows that we have a Meatgistics bracket for the NCAA tournament. If you don't, go on over to Meatgistics. There's a post in there that says Meatgistics Madness and some other stuff, and enter. It's free to enter. Winner gets $75 or $75 gift card to Walton's. I'm not giving you $75. I'm about to be even poorer than I am currently for a while as I close on a new house and do all that. I just don't get the obsession with charcoal. I really don't understand it. It fascinates me. And part of it might be that I'm so spoiled, like by working here. Like if I want to smoke a brisket, and I will say this, and it's probably the proudest moment that I've had at Walton's. Brett's father, Don Walton, they were doing a company event, and I wasn't going to it, but I cooked all the brisket for it. Don Walton pulled me aside after and told me, he's like, that's the best brisket I've ever had. And I did that in our Pro Smoker 500T. So I might have access to things that just make it too easy, right? Where I can have this added level of convenience and still get basically the same result, where, I don't know, maybe you guys don't. Denny, the next time I'm in Iowa, yeah, 100%. That's what we should do. We should, like, because I'll beat any of you at cooking steaks. Like, I swear to God, I'm not a cocky person, but like I do that better than I do almost anything else. In fact, I might do that better than I do anything else. And I don't mean like in a food way. I think I mean in my life. I think I'm better at cooking steaks than I am at doing anything else. So I feel like there's not many people who could beat me at cooking a steak. And to back that up, one of my best friends from high school, who we would cook together all the time, or like almost against each other, he's now Max McKissick. He's a Michelin star chef in Denver. At it. The restaurant is called A5 Steakhouse. So like I've been doing this my entire life. Wasn't Walton's that got me into cooking steaks. It was Walton's that got me into cooking or making sausage. I'd never made a sausage before I came here. I didn't even know that, you know, people did that. All right, what are we at? I've got a thermometer that's lying to me. There's no way that's correct. No one is allowed to leave. You're staying on this stream until I get these temped and eaten correctly. If we have to be here till 10:30, we're going to be here till 10:30. What is going on? They're not going up in temperature. Like, I can assume you can hear the roar of that flame as I open that hood. Oh my God, those are good. I just licked the juice off my fingers. Oh, that's good. But yes, you're all locked in. We're finishing this together, even if we're here till 10 o'clock at night. Meat Sweats would be a good name for the Meatgistics tournament, if nobody has it yet. I think mine's something stupid like just John Trump's picks, something like that. But Meat Sweats would be a good name for that. Yeah, Denny, I just switched and tried the other one. I was using the Walton's one. I tried the Ascali, I forget the name of it, but our new, or not our new, but Ascali's new fold-out probe, which is like an instant thermocoupler read, and it's the exact same thing. So we're going to give it about 5 more minutes, and then we're eating it no matter what. Gab grew? Nope. We retracted it. Connie, I think we've talked about this a bunch of times, but like, I just rewatched 2004 Red Sox Yankees ALCS. My favorite sporting event of all time. Really, it was amazing. Now, close to that was the hockey, the U.S. beating Canada. I go to Canada every year. This year I'm wearing, I've already ordered it. When I go across the border, I am wearing a USA hockey jersey. We will see how that goes, because I've heard horror stories from the people I go up there with. Canada apparently is very particular about, like, if you're coming into their country to do any type of business, it's a whole different thing. So if they see like any camera equipment, anything like that, they can be pretty dickish about it. But I'm going to wear a USA hockey jersey as we cross the border, just to see if I can poke them just a little bit. Oh, yeah. I mean, no, if they have a problem with that, I'll just go, okay, come across to America. Come here. But in general, yeah, you don't want to mess with border guards. Yeah, they are. We'll see how that continues, but you're here at work till 5 in the morning? What are you doing? I will not be here till 5 in the morning. If those aren't done by 5 in the morning, I will be home. I mean, the whole hockey thing, it's honestly, it's a two-parter. The main reason I've done it is because I want to annoy the border guards. But there's a deeper thing on that. Every year I go up there, and every year this place has a stuffed bald eagle hanging over the dining room. And I feel like it's an affront to all the Americans. Like, I feel like they do it intentionally. Like, they would be like us. Well, we have geese everywhere. Whatever, they're Canada. I feel like that's an affront to America. So it annoys me, and I've talked to people. I'm like, we need to take that. And with the people I'm talking to, like, I always expect them to be like, no, we can't do anything like that. The amount of like, maybe we should is surprising. So I'm going to wear my USA hockey jersey all around the resort every time I go anywhere, just to annoy them. It's better than, but just like to the same degree of when we beat, was it Pakistan? At cricket? It was India or Pakistan when we beat them at cricket. Like, we don't care about cricket. And honestly, Americans don't really care about hockey, but we still beat you at it. Steel mill? Tough job, man. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Like, good Lord, we need more people doing actual things, I say, as I am live streaming making sausage. But thank you for doing actual work instead of what I do. Yeah, no, it is actually, it is hard to like look at that thing and not go up and get it. Now, last year we had an eagle, a bald eagle, come in and take one of our fish. Like, I was up there last year when all the fires were happening in Canada, and I don't know if it was Minnesota. It wasn't Minnesota. I guess they were just happening in Canada, maybe New York. So it was this incredible, like, orange everything, and we saw this eagle come down, and we had hooked a small walleye through the actual eye, and we took it out. You have to throw them back, so it was too small, but we threw it, and it just came down like in a smoky background, orange sky, and just snagged it out of the sky, or out of the air, and flew off and did the unbelievable. They're not turning to charcoal. Damn it. Pex. You can think that all you want. I'll be back. Thank God I grabbed those keys. Oh my God, that was close. All right, we are at 172. No, that one's not good. That's a little higher than I would like. 171 and 165. Yeah, one of them was a little high. All right. Finally. All right, so we've got, I'm fairly sure I figured it back out. Let me move this out to the side. We have our Shiner box, we have our Guinness. So we're gonna do one Shiner buck, one Guinness, and we're gonna start first bite. They were not done 12 minutes ago. Good Lord, you're an annoying man. We're gonna do first bite with nothing. Second bite, we're gonna put just a little bit of spicy brown mustard on. And then third bite on each of them, we're gonna do some of the hickory grannies. I don't know what that word means. Mike. Oh, is that somebody's name? There you go. So Mike Windorf says, talking USA hockey, one of my best friends is team doctor for the gold medal winning Paralympic. Yeah, I heard we swept that too. So we won the women's, the men's, and the Paralympics. I mean, as we should. Let's be honest, as we should. There aren't too many like team sports that I would think anybody should be beating us at. I still remember one of the coolest things I've ever seen was the relay team with Phelps in like 2004, 6, whatever that was, where they came back and won. Like that was one of the coolest sporting memories of my life. Okay, so we've got the, these are the Guinness ones. Absolutely delicious. Ridiculously good. And I feel like I'm tasting the fact that it was cooked in Guinness. So now when I eat this, if it's not as good, God bless. No, it's significantly different. It's definitely different. Guinness versus cooking in a brown ale like Shiner Bock. They're both awesome, but it's not close. It's really not close. I'm gonna have to eat some crow on this. And the bad part of that is it's a brand new employee who, one of her first days here, she's like, oh, why didn't you cook it in Guinness? It's so much better. And I was like, it doesn't make a difference. Yeah. It's just better. It really is. Wow. It has a richer taste, and it's almost like cooking it in the Guinness first, pulled a slight amount of, I don't know if bitterness is the right word, it's probably not, but that little bit of bite in the beer brat that I don't always love, it pulled it out of that. So this is like an incredibly smooth tasting, like perfect beer brat. All right, so let's put just a little bit of spicy brown, a little bit of spicy brown. God. I don't know why you put any other mustard but spicy brown on a bratwurst like this. Oh, I love spicy brown mustard. Nope, Guinness is still better. Nope, even with the spicy brown. God, I hate being wrong. But our new media employee, Cindy, who's doing all the stuff I used to do on the web, I'm going to have to admit to her tomorrow that she was right, I was wrong. If you like mustard and if you like hickory flavor, the Granny's hickory is unreal. It is such a good flavor. Yeah. As much as I love spicy brown, this Granny's hickory is better. It adds a smokiness to it that, I mean, even the grill doesn't do, and just, it's phenomenal. All right, I got a little caught up there. We got a little bit emotional. I was just reading yesterday that there are a few lakes in Cali where they stocked walleye. Cheese check, walleye check. We need ice houses. Okay. Walleye can be the most fun fishing you can do. It can also be the most boring fishing you can do. I like going after smallmouth, largemouth because it's very, very active. Walleye, if you're catching a bunch of them, it's amazing. It's so much fun. But if you're not catching anything, this amount of wrist movement is not what I'm looking for with fishing. What I'm really looking for with fishing is muskie. I was reading things about the disputes between world records of muskie fishermen from like the 40s. This is the weird stuff I read. I was reading the disputes from 1949 to 1962, and like all like the nonsense that went on, and they took pictures that people had done with that and be like, no, this fish isn't as big as they said it was. They did something called photogeometry, something, it wasn't photogeometry, and proved that these world records, quote unquote, weren't actually world records. But yeah, I love muskie fishing. It's my favorite type of fishing. Huh? Andy Mike, I know you have everything to make them, so go make them. Oh, alligator gar. So, I saw an awesome meme the other day. It was a genie, and he said, let me get this straight. You want to bring back a person from the dead. You want there to be an unlimited number of large, aggressive freshwater fish, and you want to be able to watch this guy for the rest of your life catching these fish. Obviously, that's a reference to river monsters. And the response was like, yes, those are my wishes. And God, I love that show. Like, River Monsters is one of my favorite reality, whatever you want to call it, shows of all time. Jeremy Wade is a legend. Up there with Steve Irwin. I would put him up there with Steve Irwin. Gar stink? They don't, I don't know. I've never caught one, but they're awesome to look at. Those things are not medieval, that's not the right word. Prehistoric. Erie will spoil me with what? Like, I've already been spoiled. I had one day where I caught a 48-inch muskie in the morning, a 38-inch northern pike, and 80 walleye. I've been as spoiled as you can possibly be for fishing. I mean, if there's better than that, I don't know. I can't imagine it. Oh my God. So, hickory mustard over everything else. Sorry, Spicy Brown. You know how much I love Spicy Brown. Beer brats cooked in Guinness over a brown ale. Absolutely. Just better. And that actually hurts me to say, because I went into this very convinced that there's no difference at all. All right, let's try without a bun. No bun just makes it more obvious how much better they are when cooked in Guinness. Good Lord. An employee who's been here for less than a month just proved me wrong. That's humbling. I would say that's very, very humbling. Huh. Yeah, you live and you learn. 24 walleyes, average 24 inches in 2.5 hours. Yeah, that's a good day. That is a good day. I brought a drone for Christmas. Can use it to fish with, fly it over the water, 100 yards out and drop line. Okay, so here's my question on that. Because when I go up to Lake of the Woods, or actually anytime I go up fishing with these guys, we use front-facing sonar. If there was something like that for hunting, we wouldn't allow it. It's not fair chase. So why is it fair chase in fishing? Ooh, that was a loud stomach gurgle. But seriously, like, why is that okay in fishing where we don't allow like drone usage, anything like that with hunting? We might bring Cindy in on a podcast episode to give her for me to properly tell her that she was right and I was wrong. Maybe she should do the live streams. Allie and I were talking about this earlier. It would be really nice to have somebody here, especially when we do like a this or that episode. Like, we are going to do more of the regional ones where it's like Sheboygan versus Philly Brat, things like that. And it would be nice to have somebody else here who could like argue against me or agree with me, so it's like more clear. But in general, my palate is the one that matters at Walton's. Yeah, drones in hunting is, I mean, nobody that I know does it. Wait, Connie, do you know Cindy? Yeah, so, right, in tournaments, that's one thing, Denny. But, like, that genie's out of the bottle for your regular fishermen and guided trips. Like, it's over. The two best fishermen I know are Travis Frank, like personally know, are Travis Frank and Bill Schreck. And both of them use it, basically, they'll get in a spot and they use it almost like a flashlight. Like, they'll turn it on and right off. So they're like, is there anything over there? Yes. Is there anything over there? Yes. Because they both are of the opinion that it disrupts the fish. So if you leave it on and it keeps hitting them, they're like, ooh, the fish are like, nah, don't like, and they'll either scatter or they won't eat. But, I don't know, they could be wrong. And it seems like it's an unfair advantage. Like, I know the fish are over there. Like, I don't have to spend time over on these areas. I know they're there. So, anyways, not a big deal, though. Trust me, I'll fully take advantage of it. All right, well, guys, I got a ton of cleanup I got to do. But we will be back. Am I going to do it next week? Yeah, I should be doing one next week. I'm going to go down to Marco Island for my mom's 80th birthday next week, but I don't think I leave until Tuesday. Maybe even Wednesday. So we'll do that then. Yeah, and don't worry about it. I'm not going in the ocean. I'm well aware that there are large great white sharks in the Gulf of America, so I will not be going in there. I will not, and trust me, Denny's got my email, my phone number. He knows how to get in touch with me if I do forget him. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we proved me wrong, and there is a significant difference between cooking your beer brats in Guinness versus a beer like Shinerbach. Like, significant. So we'll see you guys.